everyone, welcome back to Crafting at Whimsy Wonderland. My name is Stacy. You are here for day number 13 of Christmas in July for 2019. And I'm going to use up one of those go get it before it's gone items from the Dollar Tree that I posted a video about a few weeks back. It is this My Heart is at the Beach sign. If you notice, it is shaped like a tag and it is rather long. It's, let's see, 12. It's about 15 inches long, okay? So it's going to make a really cute Christmas sign. And what I'm going to do with it is make a sign that says, do not open until December 25th. And that's what that's going to look like. The first thing I did was I removed the hanger, and then I took one of these chopper scraper things that I got at the Dollar Tree. It's stainless steel. It's just got a curved over edge for a handle. You can see I've got glitter all over my hands now. This is what I use to scrape off as much glitter as I can. So what I did is I just took the sign and I ran this over the top of the trash can over all of the glitter and smoothed it out, and then lightly scuffed it with a sandpaper. Now, there's another crafter out there that likes to use Goo Gone and then the scraper, but every time I've put Goo Gone on here, it's buckled or blistered the paper that was on there, because this is basically a thick piece of paper that's been laminated or glued to the wooden board. So you have to be careful. If you break this paper at all, it can really mess up the paint finish. So I tried with the Goo Gone and I got these big bubbly blisters that took forever to dry. And you know what happens to chipboard when it gets wet. So for me, the Goo Gone is not a good idea. Maybe I'm not doing it the same way she does it, but it's not working for me. So I just took the scraper, scraped off as much glitter as I possibly could, scuff sanded it with the sanding block, and then I came up with another idea. My thought was, it's taking so long to prep the glittered side because I like both sides of my projects to look nice. It takes so long to get rid of that glitter mess that I thought, what else could I use? And I got the idea of the textured spray paint, and I think you can get a can for about $5 at Walmart. I had one on the shelf, so I used that one. I think it was actually $3.87 if I remember correctly, because I checked on it yesterday. But it's the textured stone. Remember from the 80s we used to get that flex stone paint? Well, now they have stone paint, which is like $7 a can. It's not that one. It's by Rust-Oleum, and I already threw the can away, otherwise I'd show you because I emptied it. So this is 2 coats of that, and it's just called texture paint, and you can get, I think, about 6 different colors. And I can still see the texture of the words on the sign a tiny bit. If you look right here, you can kind of see it. But for the most part, it totally covered that up once I got the glitter off. And except for right here where my sprayer clogged and I got a big puddle of it, and I tried to smooth it out with my finger, and that was not a good idea. Anyway, so I'm happy with it. I can still tell what it says because I knew what it said, but like you can see the word my right there just a little bit. But for the most part, it took a lot of work out of the job, and it made a nice backing, and it's a good solid backing. Okay, for the most part, I think this is a good answer to spending tons of time and having the ugly back of the sign still kind of showing through. This one is a little bit more expensive, you know, than your regular spray paint, but it's going to save me a lot of time, and I think that's a good thing. Okay, so now that I have the back done, I am going to try something new, and I'm not going to be able to take you outside to show you this because my camera doesn't work. I might try with my phone and then we'll see. But I've done videos on my channel of how to paint buffalo check. I'm going to attempt to spray paint the buffalo check just to see what kind of a look I can get. Okay, so I'm going to take that outside, and if I can get a video on my phone, I will do that, but my phone does not take very good pictures outside, so I'll see what I can do. I tried, but there was just too much sun outside, and my camera just would not take a good picture. You couldn't really see what I was doing. So what I did is I followed the exact same procedure for the buffalo check print painting that I did on that other sign that I will link below. The only thing is, instead of brushing on chalk paint, I used spray paint. And I couldn't mix my colors, so I had to find colors that were close. And here's the paint that I used. You're going to start with your lightest color, and then you're going to move up your next shade, next shade, next shade. So you need 3 shades of red that coordinate and black. So I'm using this Rust-Oleum. Make sure, I like it in satin. If you want it glossy, you go ahead. This is just a little bit glossy, and that's perfect. But make sure that you get the same finish on all of the paint cans. So I got satin on all of them. So it's poppy red, the Rust-Oleum 2 times the paint. And I hardly used any of this can. So I would get lots of signs out of this can. So satin, poppy red. That was my first layer, and I painted the entire tag sign with that. Then I put my masking tape down, stripes going from top to bottom with every other stripe. And then I painted with apple red, also in the satin apple red. Okay, painted the whole thing, let it dry for a couple of minutes, and then I peeled off that tape. Then I put my tape going this way, every other one. Okay, using another piece of tape as a spacer. You've seen this done before. Then my third color of red was satin colonial red. Can you see that? Colonial red. Okay, and I used all of the same brand of paint, all of them in satin, so the finish would be the same. Once I had that sprayed on, I left the tape on that was going this way, side to side. Okay, then I gave it about 15-20 minutes to dry till it wasn't sticky, and then I put my original tape back on, going up and down, top to bottom. Okay, I put it back on in the exact same spot, and I just followed the lines that I could see through the paint, and then I spray painted it with Rust-Oleum Satin Black. I didn't buy black in this exact one with the paint and primer because I already have 3 cans of this on the shelf, so it seemed silly. I didn't really need another coat with primer in it. And I do recommend with these signs that you use the one with the primer in it. It costs about 50 cents more a can, but you'll get a nicer finish on your sign. Okay, I wasn't really worried about this one because there's already 3 coats of paint on here that are satin that had primer in them. So then I just did the black, and then I peeled off all the tape and I let it dry. It's been drying for about 5 or 6 hours now, and I can touch it and it's fine. Now I can feel the lines a little bit, and that's okay. I don't see a problem with that. The next step I'm going to do is my husband has a decal printed out or cut out for me that he cut on his vinyl cutter. He has a cameo silhouette he uses for making things that when he's sandblasting. So he's printed me out a sticker that says do not open till December 25th, and that's going to get stuck on here next. And once that's done, I will come back and show you the next steps for decorating. I just love how this red turned out. It looks a little bit orange on the camera, but in person it looks really nice and red, and I really like it. You don't have to use this Rust-Oleum with primer. Just find something in the same brand. It's going to be the same kind of paint with the same finish that has 3 colors that are close. You could do that with the greens too. Just make sure your colors are close, because I tried it with a dark green and kind of a sagey green, and it just looked awful. So pay attention to your colors, make sure that they blend. I had my husband cut this vinyl sticker out on his die cutter, and it says do not open until December 25th, and I thought that was cute for a tag, a cute saying to put on a tag. I really like how the spray painted buffalo check came out. It's a lot smoother than the chalk paint, and I think it just looks really nice. So now I had him, when we put the decal on, we put it down at the bottom so that there would be room at the top for me to decorate. And basically I took one of those picks that I had from Michael's, and I kind of cut it apart so I had the bits and pieces that I needed. But the first thing I need to do is to put the hanger that came on the sign, put it back in. And it's one of those that's got the little plastic piece on the end, so I'm just going to poke it through. Make sure you put it back on at the beginning, because otherwise when you start gluing things down to decorate it, you might lose those holes. Okay, it's not a big hanger, and I'm okay with that because I don't really want the hanger to show too much. I want the decoration to show. So I also made myself a bow. I did this with my twine, my jute twine, like I always do. I wrapped it 8 times instead of 6, and instead of keeping my fingers together, I spread them out so that the loops would be bigger. And then I gathered up a few more strands and tied them on all at once so I'd have extra tails. Now I did experiment with a bow like this with Dollar Tree burlap, but I didn't like that. The tails weren't long enough to balance out the width of the bow, but if the tails were long enough, they would cover up the sign. So I decided not to do that one. I also tried a big fussy bow like that. I also did not like that. Also made with the burlap from the Dollar Tree. So I decided not to use the big burlap Dollar Tree ribbons because you know me, I like my Christmas decorations to be simple and relaxed. So then I started messing around and I thought, okay, I've got my greenery, but I don't like how far this plastic one sets up off of the sign. So I went ahead and cut off a piece of the artificial greenery, and I like that better. So I'm going to stick that down to the top of the sign. I'm going to start with a little glop in the middle, and I'm going to push that down right in the middle of my sign. I'm going to hold that down for a second, and then I'm going to kind of bend. I don't want to bend too much to where they look unnatural, but kind of shape them to the shape of the sign of the tag a little bit. Okay, then I wanted to add some red up at the top, and so I have these red berries. I'm going to kind of bend them a little bit before I try to glue them on. And I'm just going to put some glue. I'm trying not to glue over the top of my sign because I don't want a big glob of glue landing right in the middle. So I'm going to stick that so that they come down the middle of the greenery. And I try not to glue too much on the edges. I will at the end a little tiny bit to hold down what seems loose, but I like it to be kind of free on the sides. I don't like having it be all attached. It kind of looks fake that way. It is fake, but we're trying to make it not look so fake. Okay, bending my berries just a little bit and putting glue just on the stem. And I'm going to use my trusty rusty popsicle stick. Okay, I can see these are moving around way too much, so I'm going to put just a little bit of glue underneath, right onto the sign. A little bit on this side, not a lot. Now I'm going to fool around with it a little bit. There's this like plastic-y fern needle thingy attached to the pine cone, and I'm leaving that attached to the pine cone. And I'm thinking, need to shorten the tail. Just going to experiment with this for a second. I like having that in there, but going off to the side. So I'm going to shorten the tail. It's not the prettiest side of the pine cone though, so I can roll my pine cone over. Okay, I'm going to tuck that up in there, and then that leaves me room for this little pine cone to come down. That is not a good look. The berries kind of look nice. Okay, let's shorten the tail on that. All right, I'm going to get some glue on the pine cone and the other pine cone. And they're going to go right up in the middle. I think I kind of like that. I could tuck another pine cone if I wanted, but I'm not sure that that's necessary. And then, sorry, I need to look at this for a second. got an idea. I need another pine cone. Okay, so what I'm thinking is another pine cone to go up here, and then my bow goes down here. I think I really, really like that. It's kind of a little bit overdone, but I'm okay with that. You can do as little or as much as you want. Arranging, flower arranging, and that kind of thing has never been my strong suit. So I just keep messing with things and adding things, and I kind of sometimes, more often than not, end up going over the top a little bit. So those of you who know a little bit more about flower arranging and making wreaths and that kind of thing, please don't judge. I'm just doing what works for me, and you do what works for you. I've never been one to really be brilliant at this. Okay, now I'm feeling like these longer strings are just too long. I'm going to cut those out. And I think smaller pine cones might have been a better choice, but I only had the one small pine cone. I think I like it. I think it's a little heavy on the top, but that's okay because this could take the place of a wreath on your door. That's kind of my idea. That's what I want it for. So there you have it, my do not open till December 25th sign that I'm planning on replacing my wreath with on the front door this season. And I hope that, I'm sorry, I'm getting all my glue strings. I hope that you'll go out and try this for yourself. And if you like this project, give it a thumbs up and let me know what you think of it in the comments. This has been Crafting at Whimsy Wonderland. Thanks for stopping by. I'll see you next time.